Good afternoon, guys. Hope you're all staying safe. It's a long time since I've done a video of a chainsaw cutting. Been a crazy time. I hope, and been really difficult for people with less space as well. So I've had a few sour experiences which have tempered my videos and kind of almost put me off doing some videos recently. And so I'm hoping to address one of the problems today. And if you have a problem which ends up costing you money and you share it with a number of people, somehow if that helps them, then it kind of offloads the burden for the person which is perhaps paid the cost. And so I'm going to share my experience in the hope that maybe one or two of you out there might recognize this scenario, and if it helps you avoid it, then I'm going to be really, really pleased that that's helped somebody else. So recently I sold, I'm a huge avid collector of vintage saws. I love some of the older engines. So I recently sold one that was from a museum collection, which was the Jonsered 49 SP. Gorgeous Swedish saw. This one was on display in an agricultural museum, so made from 74 or 76? Keep getting confused with another, I'm sure it's 76, so they're up to 44 years old, and I think they made them to 82, although I've got some documentation which said that some dealers were still selling them in 84. So anyway, they kind of had a lifespan of 6 to 8 years. And anyway, this one was sold, and I'd never cut with it, sold as a collector's item, and I did a few videos of it starting and running. It went to a gentleman, we'll call him Mr. W, won't say his name, and about 3.5 weeks later I had a message back under eBay, and he said that the saw seemed okay, and then it was locking up, did 3 or 4 cuts, and then it wouldn't work anymore. I thought, wow, well that was a beautiful saw and running amazing. So I sent back just the details of what I had done and the condition of the parts and how they'd been sent. And then there was a case opened up against me. eBay said that, with the eBay buyer protection, he said that I'd sent it out knowingly broken and I knew the saw was defective. Well, that's a blatant lie. So the saw has come back, and it had the parts from the saw down here next to this second saw. And so it couldn't be reassembled because the rear teeth, the teeth on the back edge of the drive links for the chain, loads of the teeth are peened over, and the rim sprocket's damaged, and the guide bar, you can see the pickup marks and the metal damage. I thought, wow, it doesn't even go back together. I thought, so how on earth does that happen? And then of course I couldn't test it because I can't reassemble it. So what I've done is I bought another saw from another collector, just over £100. Very nice saw, same model, 49 SP, not the condition of this one, but it had exactly the same 3/8 pitch clutch sprocket or rim sprocket, the same Oregon 18-inch bar, 3/8 inch chain, and although these things not in such nice condition, had a very nice side cover because the gentleman had packed the other one with the chain, the guide plates, loose in the same bag as the side cover without putting it back on the engine, and then scarred it and marked it. So anyway, I don't want this to be too long-winded, so I have transferred over those parts onto this saw, and all the old parts are still untouched down here, and so I'm going to send this to eBay, and I'm going to ask their disputes team to take a look at it, because I'm going to hopefully show now exactly how the saw runs. And so I'm going to make a promise. If this saw can't cut 4 or 5 cuts without locking up, and there's another problem on this chainsaw, I will apologise to Mr. W. I have your details under eBay. If you watch this, I'll genuinely say sorry. And so this only works once. This saw arrived yesterday, or the day before yesterday. In fact, I didn't open it till yesterday. I've changed the bits over today, and it is is it the 14th or 15th today? Sunday. I'm sure it's the 14th. Let's see how she cuts. So I've done the basic checks. I don't know if the needle settings have been altered. I have started the engine to make sure oil flow is coming out. The gentleman confirmed that it was oiling okay, and that's it. That's the story with it. So it's come back. The gentleman has had his money back and told me I knew and I'd sold him something defective and broken. Well, I certainly didn't do that knowingly, and this saw went out. If any of you have seen the other videos of it, this saw goes out and was running beautifully and smoothly. Okay, other things I've done. I have greased the clutch sprocket, which I did with the old clutch sprocket anyway. I've greased the nose wheel on the bar, and the chain is a little bit worn and a bit rough, but I'm sure if it's good enough to cut, then we'll see. What I'm interested in is just to see what the saw's doing when we're cutting with it, and genuinely never cut with the saw, so we'll see exactly how it cuts, and I'm going to upload this video regardless. There's some other details about the saw when it came back being covered in a super fine dusty mist of or just like this super fine wood dust, and the rear of this chain, the teeth are polished, and the only explanation I would say is that this chainsaw has had that chain fitted in reverse and then attempted to be cut with it running in reverse, hence the damage on the drive links being peened over, hence the super fine dust powder. None of the noodles that you would get if you crossed the grain, none of the chippings you would get if you're cutting normally. So definitely something not right, or maybe there's something not right. So I'll stop talking. I've got some wood set up ready. This is what is that? About 8 inches diameter. And I'm really interested to see how she cuts. I love the Jonsered saws. So this is larch timber. Okay, let's see how she cuts. Oh, I should say as well, in the background I have just 3 tools here. If the chain gets, haven't cut with it, so it's off another saw which was just hanging and not really used. So if the chain suddenly gets loose and starts to drag in the cut, I'll stop it, but I won't take it out of camera shot. I'll stop it, and I might just tension the chain just so it gives it a fair chance to cut, but I won't over tighten. Okay. Kill switch. Throttle lock. Okay guys, well, I love cutting with Jonsered chainsaws. It's fantastic to cut with her for the first time today. It's fantastic. So, it's chain a tiny bit loose, so I'll, okay. So she cuts really well, doesn't bog down in the cut, and cuts beautifully cleanly. I'm not sure how many cuts that was. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. I think that's 10 cuts. So, Mr. W, I don't know how you've run the saw, and the saw runs perfectly. And all I've done is swap out the parts which you damaged in your possession. So, okay guys, so I guess it's going to be a two-part story. I will now send the video to the eBay disputes team, and I'll update you and I'll see what type of response I get from them. But in terms of this saw being sold to this gentleman defective, it's an absolute lie. And you know, integrity is not something you can pay for. And so if you start tricking people, it's going to be exposed really quickly. And so the only way I had, or the only way I could see that I could show that this saw is and was supplied working, and it hasn't needed the needle settings, okay, so I guess the gentleman hasn't adjusted the needle settings, it's whirling well. The only way I could prove that this is not defective is to buy another saw and then transfer the parts over, because I don't have any other parts to put on her. But the other parts are left here and are broken. So let's grab one more log, we'll do a couple more cuts. Okay, here we go. So quite how the gentleman has only managed to cut 3 or 4 cuts and then says it's locked up is just, you know, if you buy something with an engine, you have an absolute duty of care. One's for your personal safety, but 2, for the machinery you're using. You have to check, 1, have I assembled it correctly? And as ridiculous as that sounds, there is currently, if anybody wants to check it, on eBay there's a £1,200 steel contra saw which has been kind of refurbished, if you like them done like that. Zoom in on the pictures, and I think it's described as nicely working. Zoom in close on the pictures and check the chain. It's been put back to front on that machine. So I understand if the gentleman's made a mistake, but I shouldn't be paying for it. Do a couple more cuts. She's a gorgeous saw. 44 years old and still running fantastic. Kill switch. Okay guys, thanks for watching, and I'll come back and I'll update you. So even if this results in nothing further, and it's just personally cost me money with the broken parts which I've now paid to replace. If it helps any of you avoid this problem yourself, then I'll be really, really pleased that that's the case. And if there's anything else to report, I'll come back and I'll let you know what happens with the 49 SP. And if Mr. W is watching, the right thing, sir, would be to message me back and to pay for the cost of the parts which you damaged, because this saw is not defective and the saw works perfectly. Guys, stay safe out there. Thanks for watching. I'll be back up to speed properly now, and I have some amazing videos to show with some head-to-heads against my L65, my 262, the 266 and my 285, and the fastest out of those is a real surprise. Again, it's almost shocking. Speak to you soon, guys. Bye for now.